Welcome to Time to Press Pause, a podcast for CEOs by CEOs. I'm your host, Ellen Williams, CEO of The Salient Strategist, and today I'm speaking with Brynn Gibbs. Brynn is the founder and CEO of Consumer Fusion, an AI-powered reputation management and social media platform trusted by over 10,000 businesses, including some of the country's most well-known brands. Under her leadership, Consumer Fusion has been recognized as a top marketing partner in franchising by Entrepreneur magazine and has twice been featured on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies. Brynn has been honored as one of the top 50 women of influence in technology, LA Times Women of Influence, 40 Under 40 San Diego, and Leaders of Influence in Marketing and PR. Hi, Brynn. I'm so thrilled to have you here today on Time to Press Pause.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We've had the opportunity to connect a little on LinkedIn and a brief conversation about your Press Pause story. I loved everything you said, and I'm excited to have you share it with the listeners. So please tell us your Press Pause story.
I'm so excited to share it with you all. A lot of you may have heard, or you may have already implemented EOS within your organization, but about 3 years ago, I had my I need to press pause moment where I realized that I was being a control freak and I was trying to have my hands in every little thing in every department, being a perfectionist, a people pleaser. And I just realized that I can't grow the company if I continue to do this. I needed tools that allowed me to delegate and elevate, assess my team, empower them, and put them in the right seats doing what they love. And my business coach at the time said, listen, if they can get the job done to 70% of what your 100% would be, you can always step back in if there's a fire. And I needed EOS so badly 3 years ago. All those tools have allowed me to set up the organization to where it's a well-oiled machine that's running if I step away. And I'm still very involved, but my team, they are all thriving from implementing EOS. Are you familiar with EOS?
I was going to ask if you could go into a little detail there and explain what EOS is.
So it stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System, and it is all about your core values and making sure that you communicate those core values to your team, everyone understanding the why behind what you're doing on the daily. EOS has a ton of books and tools that you implement into your day-to-day. But the one that helped me the most was the People Analyzer. And what you do is it has you rate each team member against your company's core values to make sure that they want it and they have the capacity to do it and they're doing what they love. And so there's a little bit of restructuring that goes along when you implement EOS. And I'd say it was about 6 months to where we could have a healthy rollout with it. But it has made it very clear to each team member what their responsibilities are. There are quarterly, they're called rocks, which are look at it as a goal for each team member rolling up to the whole organization to accomplish in that quarter time frame. It has let me take a step back and empowered my team to take on more responsibility. And it has been a beautiful thing because I was not in a healthy place. I was working long hours. Again, I was being a control freak. And at the end of the day, to be a strong leader, you have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of anybody else. So I was sabotaging everybody by trying to what I thought at that time was the right thing. By doing this, we have had such good growth, and overall, our company culture is so strong. So that was my first press pause moment. Okay, I can't keep doing this at this capacity. I'm going to break. And it was the best thing that I could have done for Consumer Fusion.
And you said this was 3 years ago?
Yeah.
And how long have you been the CEO of Consumer Fusion?
So we incorporated back in 2013. It's been a minute.
Was there something that happened 3 years ago? What was the realization that you needed to press pause and do something different?
It was all due to growth. It was, I call them growing challenges, not growing pains. We were starting to attend several shows and conferences, and then our clients' brand shows. And every department was growing, and I didn't have the capacity on top of being a present mom. I have 3 young children. So being on the road and then coming home, trying to catch up on my personal life, giving 110% to everything that I was putting on my plate. And my stress levels were through the roof. And I was finding myself needing that glass of wine by the time I got home at 5 o'clock. It just wasn't a sustainable time in my life. In order to grow and to have healthy work-life balance, that I needed to bring in my team, empower them more, and EOS was the answer for us.
A healthy work-life balance. I think everyone's striving for that. Did you see with this pause and redirection that the members of your team started to have more of a healthy work-life balance as well?
Yes. And that people analyzer tool that I mentioned earlier is so impactful because it's a process where you almost interview your team member, but then also you're analyzing them as well and where their strengths and weaknesses are. And there's 4 boxes where you log what you love, what you're great at, what you're good at that you like, what you dislike, but you're good at, and then what you hate and you're not good at. We did this both with our personal and our professional tasks. It's really eye-opening, not just for yourself as an individual, but for your team members, taking the time to learn what they love, what they enjoy, what they hate, and then restructuring accordingly. I mean, when you have a happy team and everyone, it's just, I don't know, makes life a little easier.
I would agree. A happy team makes life a little easier.
Yeah.
That's some of what I deliver with my services as well. I try to get the CEO out of the weeds of
Mhm.
things and empower the team. So definitely have the same mindset. You also mentioned understanding the why. And I think that's really important. And please let me know if you agree. After being in business for 7, 8 years, were you able to still hold on to the why, or was it something that you needed to come back around and say, okay, I started because of this? Had it changed?
I have been able to hold on to the why, and it's due to the reason why I started the company. I'm very passionate about reputation management, and I learned about reputation management because in high school I was a victim of cyberbullying, and I was too ashamed and embarrassed to go to teachers or my parents for help. But this was back also in the AOL dial-up days. I was mortified, humiliated, and I needed to get this inappropriate content that was posted about me online removed. So I figured out how to dispute and report it, and I got it removed myself. And it was a very dark time in my life. And I'm thankful that it didn't happen today where there's Snapchat and TikTok and Instagram. Like it would have killed me back then. But I didn't do anything without self-taught tool until almost 10 years later. My now husband, who works with me in the business, we had a family member who's now a retired dentist have a disgruntled ex-employee blast his dental office online with fake spam reviews, her and all of her friends and family members. So I helped him clean it up. And he was in a Rotary group and connected me with a local lawyer who was getting bashed by a competitor online. And then that attorney connected me with a plastic surgeon in LA whose ex-wife was bashing him online. So we started with the illegitimate negative review removal piece, but then it has grown over the years into an enterprise platform that's AI powered that supports some of the top brands across the country. So scratch our own niche in the very beginning. It is a manual aspect of reputation management, which sets us aside from other alternatives in the space. And we have tools that have allowed us to scale because of the AI that we've brought into the platform. But I love what we do. Like we have business owners who will call us in tears because something went viral on TikTok and then they're being slandered across all the social media sites or their review listings. Just knowing how much we help these businesses, it fuels me, and I believe in leading from the front. My team sees me, like if somebody is upset or if someone is like, oh my God, we have a fire, I need you. I am right there. And again, that's me earlier when I said I have a hard time kind of letting go. I always insert myself. I have gotten better about stepping back, but they know that I will still be there if needed. And it stems back to my why. It's because I truly love what we do. And I love the impact and the help that it provides businesses. It just makes me really happy. Like this doesn't feel like work for me.
That's the best career to have, right?
Right?
When it's passionate and it doesn't feel like work. And I do want to come back to, you said you could always step back in, that even if they didn't do it quite as well. And I think that's key to any leader, CEO, or somewhere else within the organization, that if you don't give your team the chance to grow,
Mhm.
number one, they won't. And number two, you'll never know if they could.
Absolutely.
And just because you step back doesn't mean you can't step back in. You don't have to micromanage, but you do
Mhm.
have to monitor.
Mhm.
And is that the shift that you've gone through?
Yeah, and I have also learned that I can't solve every problem. Even before we implemented EOS, I just started surrounding myself with problem solvers, team members that weren't going to come to me for every little thing and for an answer on every little thing. I was looking for, and I was very strategic on finding people who, A, were smarter than me, whose strengths were my weaknesses, and who were problem solvers. That strategy with EOS has made us such a well-oiled machine.
It sounds like you had great success after choosing to press pause. You found a way forward from the position you were in to make life better for yourself and your team. What advice do you have for CEOs as to when they can identify when it's time to press pause?
So I have a second press pause if we have time.
Awesome.
I'll be very quick with this one. So I have worked with, he's actually our EOS implementer, so our EOS coach. His name's Scott Rusnick. I started working with him individually as my business coach. Athletes whose coaches, I think business leaders, especially CEOs and founders, should have a business coach as well. I am now partnered with so many successful people who have become dear friends of mine, and I would not compete, but I would compare, and I would see their growth, and I would see their strategies, I would see their long-term vision, and I wanted to be right there with them, keeping that pace. I mean, some of these companies are billion-dollar companies that have PE-backed money, and we're talking apples to oranges. It was not healthy for me to be trying to compare myself to that, but I was breaking. And I was so stressed. I wasn't taking the time to appreciate what I had accomplished up to this point earlier in the year. And it took the fun out of work for me, actually. And like I said earlier, I love what I do, but I was finding myself kind of in a funk. My business coach, I called him crying one day, and he's like, "Get out of the office. I'll meet you at the beach." And we went for a walk on the beach because that's my stress reliever. And he was like, "You need to read Gap in the Gain right now." Because I explained to him how I was struggling, just trying to hang with everyone around me. And this book, Gap in the Gain by Dan Sullivan, completely shifted my mindset. It is all about measuring back and looking how far you've come and celebrating the wins on the daily, which I had moved away from. I had let other people kind of unintentionally set these goals for myself and the company that weren't necessarily what I wanted. And so I really spent a lot of time after reading Gap in the Gain reflecting on what do I want and celebrating how far I've come, because Consumer Fusion is growing year after year. We're a very successful business and we've had team members for 10 plus years. We're in a great place. Like I should be proud of that. I should be celebrating that. And instead I was comparing to what companies were doing, 100 million plus in annual recurring revenue. So I just wasn't in a healthy mindset. That book changed me. Chapter 2 at the end of the audio version asks you to log a perfect happy day for you. And it's so funny because when I did that, nothing about it had anything to do with materialistic things. It all had to do with relationships and health and just joy. And that really shifted my mindset and actually like my long-term vision of being the architect of my own life and understanding not only what I want today, but what I want in 10 years, what I want when I'm 60. That book and just kind of shifting my mindset really, I needed to press pause then more than I did initially with the whole implementation of EOS. But Gap in the Gain is an amazing book. highly recommend it if you kind of find yourself not celebrating the daily wins and comparing yourself to others around you, not being competitive, but just trying to hang with the growth that you're seeing around you. So that's my second press pause story.
I'm excited that we got two. So
Yeah.
that was great advice. So basically you're saying don't necessarily compare yourself to others to the degree where you lose sight of your own advancements and achievements. It's okay to strive for that next level, but not at your own demise or degrading.
Exactly.
I think that's great advice. And every CEO, I think, also goes through one of the things you said, you had all the answers. There's a point where you think you're supposed to, and then you realize you don't. Then you compare yourself to people who do or look like they do, right? Everyone puts their best face forward everywhere. I've actually struggled with this throughout my life where I put people on pedestals and I'm like, oh, how could I be like that? And every time when I get to know those people, they're just like me. You start to see, oh, wait, not that they're not doing great things, but I can be doing what they're doing with a little more effort. Or a little more knowledge.
And it's not always what you see on social media. The audiobook touches a lot on social media and how that can impact your mindset as well.
Absolutely. It certainly does. Brynn, it's been a pleasure. I love that I got two press pause stories from you. So thanks for the bonus there. And I really appreciate you being here with me today on Time to Press Pause.
Thank you for having me. It was great meeting you, Ellen.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Time to Press Pause. To learn more about Brynn, go to consumerfusion.com. To learn more about me, go to thesalientstrategist.com. And be sure to join us again wherever you listen to your podcast.